Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your invitation to attend the forum here this evening. I also would like to thank Harmony and Teresa for their country, and also give my respects to the Arapaho people for ownership of the country here. As a newcomer to the political arena, perhaps I could begin by saying a few words about my background. I arrived from the UK in the early 1970s, attended Perth University, where I was sidetracked from my science degree into the then rather new field of computing. I spent the next few decades working in IT, including a 5-year period in the Whitsundays, to my joy, starting and running a successful computer sales and support business with my partner. I took a break during that period, shortly after I left a rather intensive job with IBM, and learned to fly and worked as a flying instructor for a few years as well, so I have some experience in teaching and training. They say life is the sum of your experiences, which is perhaps why I'm standing up here this evening. We moved to Port Macquarie about 10 years ago, after driving the full length of the East Coast looking for the ideal spot. We built a house in Lake Cadai and have been happily settled in the community down there for the last 8 years. I first heard of Sustainable Australia when Dick Smith joined it about 2 years ago. It's the first political party he's ever joined in his life. The resultant media focus drew quite a lot of attention, including mine. I checked the website and read the policies, and I thought, well, if I had to write a set of common sense, middle-of-the-road policies that would be good for the whole of Australia, that was pretty close with what they had on their website. So I emulated Dick and joined too. I volunteered to help at election time, thinking of wearing a t-shirt and handing out leaflets and how to vote cards. When I was asked if I would consider standing, my first response was, "You have to be joking, me?" Anyway, then I thought, well, if I do stand, it will give me more opportunities to talk to more people and publicise the party and its policies. So I agreed, and here I am, a brand new candidate, feeling a little bit like I've thrown myself into the lion's den, hoping I come out alive. Moving on to the party itself, Sustainable Australia is a national, centrist, community-orientated minor party. It's not aligned with either the left or the right side of politics. It has no single issue and no special interest focus. In fact, I call it an apolitical political party. The primary focus for us for this election is better planning, affordable housing, secure jobs and a sustainable environment and population. And I'll just expand on those a little. Better planning would involve giving real power to local communities and their residents in planning decisions. Capturing for the public the land value gains from rezoning by increasing developer charges for these gains. Endeavouring to deliver new community infrastructure before building more houses. As a 2-person, 1-car family in Lake Cadai, that's actually very close to my heart, because transport can be quite difficult. Affordable housing initiatives, including increased investment in public housing, a review of the tenancy laws, and broadening land tax over at least a 10-year period to replace stamp duty. Secure jobs in a diverse economy. By this, we believe that our economy should be developing due to many and varied factors, such as improvements in productivity, innovation, skills, education, workforce participation, technology and entrepreneurship, rather than an increasing spiral of population and debt. We feel we need to reallocate a significant portion of our economic capital from overinvestment in housing and property speculation back into factories, farms and small businesses to re-diversify the economy. Doing so will create more jobs and more secure jobs. Sustainable environment and population. Well, our environmental policies run to more than 4 pages, so I'll just hit some of the highlights here. Climate change, of course, is number 1. We would like to contribute to staying below 1.5 degrees global temperature rise. That's our goal. That would include no new coal-fired power stations and no new export-based coal mines in Australia. We would fund and subsidise research and development into renewable energy and consider all energy production options. We would also look at phasing out fossil fuel subsidies, excluding the diesel fuel rebate. We recognise the adverse effects of fracking and mining on both the environment and agricultural land and communities, and we would endeavour to impose a moratorium. We would end broad-scale land clearing and old-growth forest logging. We would look to better manage water security, including lower wastage and fairer water rights and responsibilities, and ensure that those rights and responsibilities are enforced. And we would significantly reduce waste. Then there's population. This is a local and global issue. Like climate change, population requires local action in order to achieve global outcomes. Current growth projections have Australia on target to grow from 25 million in 2018 to over 40 million by 2050. I'd like to make a few statements about the party's position on population because there are some rumours floating around. Firstly, rapid population growth we feel is unsustainable and undesirable, regardless of whether it comes from high immigration or high native fertility. It cannot continue indefinitely on a finite planet. Sustainable Australia is opposed to any restrictions on family size and any coercive efforts to reduce fertility. Sustainable Australia is opposed to discrimination of immigrants based on race, ethnicity or religion. And Sustainable Australia is pro-immigration, but at a cap of the long-term average of approximately 70,000 permanent immigrants per year, rather than the current 200,000 plus. Sustainable Australia is in fact the only political party in Australia that is willing to acknowledge the elephant in the room of out-of-control population growth and its consequences. Now I'd like to talk briefly about some other policies that you might be interested in. For small business, one of our priority objectives is to remove unnecessary red tape, compliance costs and regulations. This would include removing small business employer involvement in the collection of superannuation funds for their employees. Super can be better collected and managed by the ATO by including it in workers' gross pay and PAYG payments. Instant write-off for small business assets under $20,000. Having an effects test in competition policy to protect small business from the misuse of market power, and implementing standard maximum 30-day payment requirements for invoices to governments and big business. In other areas, some of our policies include ending multinational tax avoidance and profit shifting to low or no tax jurisdictions. This will reduce the tax burden on local and small business. Reduce the company tax rate for local manufacturing to 25%. Remove trade agreements that prevent governments from buying local goods and services and supporting local jobs and industries. Provide very much clearer country of origin labelling laws to help consumers easily choose Australian-made goods and services. Reduce TAFE and university fees and offer free tertiary education in approved TAFE and university STEM courses. Better distribute ABC resources into regional and rural coverage to both provide a voice for a fair share of government services and to educate city dwellers on regional and rural issues. Thank you all for your attention.